1. Introduction. My name is Ally. I am 27 years old. I live in London with my husband, Jack. We have been married for 3 years. Jack works as a business consultant. He is a smart man. He is also handsome and very serious about his career. He often travels for his job. I work from home as a designer. I create patterns and pictures. Because I work alone, I spend most of my weekdays by myself. Sometimes the house feels quiet. Jack has a best friend named Stefan. Stefan visits us often, almost like family. He is quite different from Jack. Jack is focused, but Stefan is full of life. He is very funny and always knows how to make me laugh. He has a warm personality. Stefan often comes for dinner with us. He also helps us a lot. If we need something fixed, or if Jack is busy, Stefan is always there to lend a hand. He sometimes takes care of little things around our house, like watering plants, especially when Jack is away. For a long time, I only saw Stefan as a good friend. I never thought of him in any other way. Then, one evening, something began to change. Jack had to go away for work. It was a business trip that would last for 2 whole weeks. I was used to his travels. That night, Stefan came to our house. He needed to drop off some important papers for Jack, something Jack had forgotten. He arrived after sunset. When Stefan was there, the air in our living room felt different. There was a new feeling. He looked at me in a new way, a way he had never looked at me before. His eyes stayed on mine for a moment longer than usual. My heart started to beat faster, a quick rhythm in my chest. I did not understand why this was happening or what it meant. A feeling of suspense filled the room. It felt like the start of a new story, a moment both exciting and a little scary. I felt confused, but also very aware of him. This visit from Stefan was not like any other. It felt special, almost important. 2. A different look. Stefan visited Ally many times while Jack was away. He came to her house almost every day. He said he did not want her to be lonely. They often drank warm coffee together. Sometimes they shared a simple lunch. They talked about many things. They spoke about their lives, their dreams, and even small, everyday problems. Stefan always listened carefully. He made Ally laugh with his funny stories and kind jokes. Ally felt very comfortable when Stefan was near. It was a nice feeling. She felt safe and understood when he was there. His visits became a part of her daily life during Jack's trip. One night they decided to watch a movie together. They sat on the sofa. While the movie played, Ally felt his eyes on her. She turned her head slowly. Stefan was looking at her. His gaze was long, and it made her heart beat a little faster. She had never seen him look at her like that before. It was a new kind of look. Ally felt her face become warm. She felt a little shy. "Why are you looking at me like that?" Ally asked softly. Stefan smiled a soft smile. His eyes were warm and kind. "Because you are beautiful, Ally," he said. His voice was low and gentle. Ally felt a strange feeling. She wanted to laugh, but her hands were shaking a little. It was true. Jack, her husband, was often busy. He did not often say such things. He focused on his work and did not always notice small things. It had been a very long time since someone told her she was beautiful. Stefan's words were a surprise. They made her feel special. She felt confused because these feelings were new. But deep inside, she also felt alive. It was a new, strong, and warm feeling that she had not felt in a long time. When the movie finished, Stefan stood to leave. He walked to the door. Just before he opened it, he stopped. He turned back to Ally. He looked at her with kind eyes. "You deserve to be seen," he said softly. Then he opened the door and left. Ally stood in the quiet living room. She did not move for a long time. Stefan's words stayed in her mind. "You deserve to be seen." She thought about them again and again. She felt a mix of strong feelings. Part of her felt very happy, very special. She had not felt so noticed in a long time, but another part of her felt worried. She was married to Jack. These new feelings for Stefan were wrong, she knew, but they were also very strong. Her heart felt new, full of something she had never expected. She felt confused, yet strangely alive with these new emotions. 3 secret messages. After that night, everything felt different. Stefan started sending Ally messages. They were sweet and full of care. For example, he would text, "Did you eat lunch today?" Or, "Are you feeling okay?" Sometimes he wrote, "Don't work too hard." Ally felt a warmth spread through her each time her phone buzzed with his name. At first, Ally tried to not answer them. She tried to ignore his words, but she could not do it. His messages made her feel very special. She had not felt this way for a long time. Jack was a good husband, but he was often very busy. He rarely noticed the small things. When Jack called from his business trip, he only spoke about his work and his meetings. Ally answered him politely, but her thoughts were with Stefan. His words were always kind and made her feel seen. One evening, Stefan sent Ally a picture. It was a beautiful photo of a sunset. The sky was full of orange and pink colors, stretching wide and bright. With the picture, he sent a message. It said, "It reminds me of your smile." Ally looked at the photo for a long time. She knew that this was not right. She was a married woman. But she could not stop thinking about Stefan. She thought about his kind eyes and his warm voice. She thought about how he made her feel alive. A few days later, Stefan came to see Ally again. He said he wanted to talk to her about something important. When he arrived, he looked very serious. His hands were in his pockets, and he seemed nervous, too. Ally felt her heart beat faster in her chest. She wondered what he wanted to say. The air felt heavy with unspoken words. Stefan looked at Ally with deep emotion in his eyes. He took a deep breath, as if gathering all his courage. Then he spoke softly, but his voice was clear. "Ally," he said, "I cannot hide it anymore. I am in love with you." Ally stood completely still. His words hit her like a wave. She did not expect these words, not like this. Her mind tried to understand what he had just said. She felt a mix of shock and something else, something confusing but also powerful. Stefan, her husband's best friend, was in love with her. This was a secret message not sent by text, but spoken aloud. It changed everything once more. The feelings Ally had been trying to push away now felt very real and very strong. She looked at Stefan, and he looked back at her, his eyes full of hope and worry. The air in the room became thick with unspoken thoughts and new, unexpected emotions. She knew her life would never be the same after this moment. Her mind was a blur, filled with a strange mix of fear and excitement. This was a secret that would change many things between them and within her own heart. For a big confession. Stefan's words made Ally's body feel very cold. She did not know what to say or do. He looked at her with serious eyes. "I know this is wrong," Stefan said, "but I cannot stop loving you. I have tried to, but I just cannot." Ally felt a wave of shock. It was a big moment, and her mind was racing. She had never thought Stefan felt this way. He was Jack's best friend. This was a secret she could not share. Ally tried to tell him to go, but her voice was very weak. The words came out softly, not strong. Stefan did not argue with her. He simply looked at her with a sad smile. "I will wait for you," he said, "even if it takes many years." Then he turned and left her house. Ally stood alone, feeling completely lost. Her heart was beating fast. She could not believe what had just happened. For many days after that, Ally could not stop thinking. Stefan's confession played in her mind again and again. She could not tell Jack about it. How could she tell her husband that his best friend loved her? She also could not face Stefan. The thought of seeing him again filled her with fear and confusion. Her mind was like a big storm inside her head. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Stefan's face. His words, "I am in love with you," echoed in her ears. She felt guilty, but she also felt something else, something new and strange. She felt seen, truly seen, for the first time in a long time. This feeling made her even more confused. She tried to push it away, but it stayed. 1 week later, Ally went to a friend's dinner party. Many people were there. She tried to act normal, to smile and talk. Then she saw Stefan across the room. He was talking to other friends. When their eyes met, for just a moment, Ally felt everything come back. Her heart started to beat very fast again. It was a clear sign. In that moment, she realized something important. Something inside her had already changed. Her feelings for Stefan were growing too. She could not deny it anymore. She felt a strong pull towards him, a connection that was hard to ignore. This realization made her feel even more troubled and unsure about her life. 5. The storm inside. After the dinner party, Ally tried to keep her distance from Stefan. She knew it was the right thing to do. She hoped he would understand and stop calling her. She spent more time working, trying to fill her days with tasks. She wanted to create a clear space between them, a space where her feelings could calm down. But fate had other plans. One afternoon, Jack came home looking happy. He told Ally that he had invited Stefan for dinner the next weekend. Ally's heart dropped. She had to act like everything was fine, but inside she felt a wave of worry. As the dinner night came, Ally tried to prepare herself. She wore a simple dress and tried to smile. She knew she had to pretend that nothing had changed, that Stefan was just Jack's best friend. When Stefan arrived, he greeted Jack warmly. Then his eyes met Ally's for a moment. She saw a quiet sadness in them. The dinner began. Jack talked happily about his work, about new projects and clients. He did not notice the heavy air in the room. Ally tried to listen, but her mind was elsewhere. She felt Stefan's eyes on her, a soft, constant gaze from across the table. It made her feel both seen and deeply uncomfortable. Every moment felt like an hour, and she wished the night would end. At one point, Jack got up to go to the kitchen to get more drinks. For a few seconds, Ally and Stefan were alone at the table. Ally looked down at her plate, trying to avoid his eyes. Then she heard his voice, a soft whisper that only she could hear. "I wish I could stop loving you," Stefan said. Ally froze. Her whole body went cold. She could not speak or move. Just then, Jack came back, smiling, holding 2 glasses. He did not know what had just happened. Ally tried to nod and smile, but her face felt stiff. The rest of the dinner was a torture. She wanted to scream, to cry, to run away from the table and the unspoken words hanging in the air. Later that night, Jack was sleeping soundly next to her. But Ally could not close her eyes. Her mind was racing. She felt a deep, heavy guilt. She was married to Jack, a kind and loyal man, but her thoughts were filled with Stefan. She saw his face, heard his whispered words again and again. A storm was truly inside her head. She turned from one side to the other, trying to find some peace, but there was none. She felt so confused. One part of her knew that this was wrong, that she should not feel this way. But another part felt a strange, strong pull towards Stefan. It was a feeling she could not control, a feeling that kept her awake until the first light of morning touched the room. 6. The breaking point. Stefan came to the house one afternoon. He said he needed to drop off some papers for Jack. I felt a mix of surprise and a strange sadness. I knew he should not be here. I told him he shouldn't come anymore. He listened to my words. He nodded his head slowly, but he did not leave the room. He looked at me with sad eyes. "I just wanted to see you," he said, "one last time." My heart felt heavy. I wanted to tell him to go. I wanted to tell him to stop these feelings. "Please stop," I said. "You must forget me." He gave a small, sad smile. "You know I cannot," he answered. He took a step closer to me. For the first time, I did not move away. I stood still. His presence was strong. It felt wrong, but it also felt important. A silent moment passed between us. It was full of words we did not speak. I felt many emotions at once. It was a difficult feeling. I turned my head away from him. I looked at the wall. "Please go," I said again, my voice quiet. He stood there for a few more seconds. He did not say anything else. Then he turned around and walked to the door. He opened it and left. The sound of the door closing was soft, but it felt loud in the quiet house. I stood alone in the room. My mind was full of thoughts about him. After that day, I did not see Stefan for a long time. Weeks passed. Every day I thought about him. I wondered where he was. I wondered what he was doing. I tried to push these thoughts away. I tried to focus on my work. I tried to focus on my life with Jack, but it was hard. His face stayed in my mind. His words stayed in my heart. I felt a constant ache inside me. It was a secret ache. Nobody knew about it. I felt lonely with this secret. Then one evening, Jack came home from work. He looked happy. He sat down next to me. "I have some news," he said. My stomach felt a little nervous. "Stefan got a new job offer," Jack said with a big smile. "It's a very good one. He is moving to Paris next month." My heart seemed to stop beating. The words hit me hard. Paris. Next month. It felt like a cold wind had blown through the room. My mind went blank for a moment. I tried to smile back at Jack, but it was difficult. The news was a shock. It was the breaking point for something inside me. I knew things would never be the same again. 7. The goodbye. Ally felt a deep sadness when she heard Stefan was moving. Jack's words about Stefan's new job in Paris had made her heart drop. She tried to act normal, but inside she felt broken. The thought of Stefan leaving forever was hard to accept. She realized how much her feelings for him had grown. It was a secret she carried alone, a heavy weight. The days leading up to his departure felt long and empty. A few days before Stefan was to fly away, he came to her house. Jack was not there. He was at work. Ally opened the door slowly. When she saw Stefan, tall and quiet, her eyes filled with tears. She tried to hide them, but it was difficult. His presence brought back all the strong emotions she had tried to push away. This was their final moment. Stefan looked at her with kindness, his eyes full of sadness. His voice was soft, almost a whisper. "I didn't come to make things harder for you, Ally," he said. "I just wanted to see you one last time before I go." His words made her heart ache even more. This was truly the end of their secret connection. Ally found her voice, though it was barely a whisper. "Will you forget me, Stefan?" she asked. She needed comfort. He smiled sadly, a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Never," he promised her, his gaze steady. "I will never forget you, but I will try to live my life, Ally." His answer was both a comfort and a new pain. Ally reached for a small silver pendant she wore around her neck. It was a simple, old piece of jewelry, special to her. She took it off and held it out to him. "Please take this," she said, her voice trembling slightly, "to remember me, so you have a piece of our time." Stefan took the pendant carefully, his fingers brushing hers. Their hands held together for just a second, a silent goodbye, a final connection. Then he let go. He turned and walked away from the door, his steps slow and heavy. Ally stood by the window, watching as his car started and then drove down the street. It turned the corner and was gone from sight. She felt her heart break into a million pieces, all in silence. The goodbye was real. He was really leaving. Her secret love was now just a memory, a quiet pain. 8. A lesson learned. Life with Jack continued its usual rhythm. On the surface, everything looked normal. Jack was busy, kind, and loyal as always. Ally smiled beside him, but her heart held a deep secret. Jack never knew about the feelings that had grown between his best friend and his wife. He never knew about the quiet goodbyes. Months passed, and the sharp pain of Stefan's departure softened. Sometimes, Ally thought about him in Paris, wondering if he thought of her too. The memory of his words and the way he made her feel seen stayed with her. It was a quiet echo in her mind, a part of her now. Through all of it, Ally learned much about love. She understood that love was not always simple. It could come unexpectedly, in a way that felt wrong, with a person you should not love. But even then, it changed her deeply. It showed her parts of herself she had forgotten or never known. Now, Ally looked at Jack with a new understanding. She tried to love him better, not from guilt, but because she saw how fragile love could be. She saw Jack as her husband, a man who offered stability and the life they had built. She recognized his steady love, his loyalty, and his quiet strength. Stefan had taught her what it felt like to be truly seen, to have someone understand her without words. It was a powerful feeling that opened her eyes to her needs. Jack, in turn, reminded her of the importance of staying, of commitment, and of a shared future. He represented the choice to keep a life together. Ally lived with both truths. One truth was the quiet fire of a secret love that burned gently inside her. The other truth was the warm, steady love of her husband, who held her every night. She knew her life was different now. She understood love's many faces, living with a silent past and a new, wiser perspective on her marriage.